edition of Science Week. I, Dr. Biteshwari Khangembam, Faculty of Environmental Science, Tamenglong College, on behalf of Manipur Sakti and SEED, will say a few words. I welcome you all full-heartedly on this occasion. I welcome Professor W. Bishwanath, Department of Life Science, Manipur University, for sparing his precious time in delivering lecture on the topic freshwater and fish diversity in Manipur. I welcome all the participants present here. I also welcome Professor Asagupta, President and Convener of Manipur Sakti. Freshwater ecosystem provide a wide range of habitats for a significant proportion of the world's plant and animal species. They occupy less than 2% of the Earth's total land surface. Fish diversity is declining day by day due to habitat degradation, reduction in water volume, increased sedimentation, irrational fishing practices, water pollution, and many other factors. Freshwater environments are experiencing serious threats to biodiversity. So, this webinar is organized to discuss about freshwater and fish diversity in Manipur. Now, I request Dr. Sorokaivam Ivechawi, Faculty of Environmental Science, Patrigu College, Ukru, to introduce our resource person, Professor W. Bishwanath, Department of Life Science, Manipur University, to the participant.
Thank you, Dr. Viteshwari, and good evening to all the participants and our resource person, President. As Biteshwari had also mentioned that the Manipur Sakti and SEED is organizing a webinar series on Science Week celebration 2021 from 11 of this month. In this series, today we will be hearing a lecture from Professor WB Charnat on the topic freshwater and fish diversity in Manipur. Sir Bishwanath is an eminent and knowledgeable person in any field related to fisheries. Sir had a strong academic career. He had been serving the Manipur University in the Department of Life Sciences since 1984 and retired as Professor of Higher Academic Grade in 2019. He has an experience of 35 years of teaching in Manipur University. Sir had produced 32 numbers of PhD scholars, had published more than 100 research papers and 6 book publications related to fisheries. To introduce Sir Bishwanath is not an easy task, as I have already mentioned. Sir is an eminent person. So he was a former chairman of Research Advisory Committee, ICAR, National Bureau of Fish Genetic Resources, Lucknow. He was also a co-chairperson of South Asia IUCN Freshwater Fish Specialist Group. He was also a member of Research Advisory and Monitoring Committee, Zoological Survey of India. He was also a chairman of State Environment Appraisal Committee, Manipur. Not only this, Sir Vishwanath had received various awards. A few of them are E.K. Janaki Amal National Award for Animal Taxonomy 2015 from the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India. AEB Honor 2010, that is Academy of Environmental Biologists India, Fellow of Zoological Society of India. Presently, Sir Vishwanath is a UGC BSR Faculty Fellow, which is a post-retirement fellowship at the Department of Life Sciences, Manipur University. Sir, we are very glad to have you here today. So please kindly deliver your lecture to the participants.
Thank you.
Sir,
May I have my PowerPoint, please?
Yes, sir. Anjali Chanu, from Anjali Chanu side, it will be shown, sir. It is there already.
But I want to see on my screen. Is it possible? No.
तुम देख सकते हो? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kindly put it on my screen. Is it possible?
Yeah. Sir, please click in Anjali Chanu and you can get the slide.
Anjali Chanu.
Yeah.
This will allow you to take the Anjali Chanu. Share now. Okay. Allow. Presentation. It's not coming.
Sir,
Yeah.
I think it is there. Can you see, sir?
Yeah. I'll minimize. No, it is on the background. Kindly maximize. Is it possible? No.
Maximum.
Otherwise, I'll present on my from my.
Okay,
am I
sir.
visible? Am I visible?
Yes. You are visible, sir.
Okay. Dear participants,
Sir,
I'm
kindly maximize the window, please. The presentation.
no, this is my own from my laptop, not from the presentation site.
Yes, sir, we can understand, but please maximize the entire window so that everyone can see properly. The PPT window.
No, because I'm not presenting, it is presented by Anjali. So Anjali has to maximize.
Sir, the window says it is currently shown by you. Vishwanath Wycombe is presenting right now on the main screen. So I think your window is visible to everyone right now.
Yeah, but PowerPoint is not here.
Oh, okay. Sir, don't you have the PPT yourself right now? If you have the PPT yourself, then you can open it and start the lecture.
But I have not uploaded,
Okay.
But is it visible now? My PPT?
Yes, we can see now. Yeah. Now we can see.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much for inviting me in the Science Week celebration. I'm really grateful to the Manipur Shakti and Seat convener, Professor Asha Gupta, and the team. I'm really happy to be amongst you. My topic is freshwater and fish diversity in Manipur. Why I have taken this topic is that freshwater is as everybody knows, that it has become a very vulnerable commodity. Without fresh water, we cannot live. The whole life cannot exist because our tissues and cells, even the plant cells and tissues, are composed of 70 to 80% of fresh water. Even though the whole world is full of water, but in fact, the fresh water is less than 0.1%. And this is supporting the whole life in this world. So fresh water is very important. And you see, only a few days back on the 2nd February 2021, we observed the World Wetland Day. The theme was wetland and water. So how important fresh water is to our life. So that is why I have selected freshwater. And the freshwater resource in Manipur is very unique compared to other parts of the country, other parts of the world. So this is one. And secondly, I have chosen the fish diversity. Of course, this is my field of research and my topic, because fish has been associated with the Manipuris for time immemorial, and fish is inevitable in Manipur. That's why the relationship between freshwater and fish diversity in Manipur, I have selected the topic. Now, December 2003, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the resolution number 58/217, that is International Decade for Water for Life. 2005 to 2015, it was declared as the International Decade for Water for Life. And in this, the main emphasis is that at least 50% of the whole world's population should get safe drinking water and water for basic sanitation. See, because we have we have experienced that in the past, because of lack of safe drinking water, thousands and thousands of people have died because of various diseases, epidemics. So safe drinking water is very important for human beings as well as for livestock, and also water for basic sanitation. So this was a decade, and it was targeted that at least 50% of the whole world's population should get safe drinking water and water for basic sanitation. This is one way to look at it. But at the same time, if we have to look on the other side of the story, this Water for Life decade is targeted at the welfare of mankind and the livestock. But the fresh water, which occupies only 0.08% of the whole world's water, it is supporting thousands and thousands of lives. People look at Shanghai deer. People look at the beautiful orchids, the migratory birds, the butterflies, which are all terrestrial. But underwater, beneath the water, in the freshwater habitats, how many lives are being thriving, and this freshwater is already endangered. So another group of people, they have the opinion that freshwater supports several aquatic species, and Water for Life resolution, the decade of 2005 to 2015, at this time, the freshwater is facing unprecedented and growing threats for human activities. And if we compare the decline of the biodiversity in terrestrial habitats and freshwater habitats, the declines in freshwater biodiversity is far more compared to the terrestrial ecosystems. So, as the civilization goes on, and when the human civilization is coming up and up, there will be more and more demand for water, fresh water. And if this type of demand is unaltered, so at the end of the decade, it is feared that the remaining biodiversity in freshwater may vanish. So this is a concern. So there is a dilemma, that is to get safe water, drinking water, sanitation, at the same time, the conservation of biodiversity, which the freshwater supports. So these are the two things we have to be very much aware of. Now, then it has come. 2011 to 2020 has been again declared as the decade on biodiversity. And in this decade, the objective was supporting implementation of the biodiversity strategic plan at national, regional, and international levels, guidance to regional and international organizations, and public awareness of biodiversity issues. So to look on either side, we need to conserve fresh water, and it's the life it supports, the biodiversity it supports. This we have to be very much aware of. Now, coming to the context of Manipur, I want to give a little emphasis on this. Manipur is a state in the northeastern corner of India. It is a political unit, and it is bounded by Nagaland on the north. Then on the east is Myanmar, the south is Mizoram and the Chin Hills, Chin state of Myanmar, and the west is Assam. No, that is a political boundary. But if we really look into the origin and evolution and geomorphic evolution of Manipur, it's very interesting. Everybody knows that, the Earth's crust is in the state of motion, and this we know that it is a tectonic movement. And the Gondwana, the southern supercontinent, was broken up sometime about 300 to 400 million years back, and it has broken into South America, Africa, the India, Australia, and Antarctica. And this breaking of the Gondwana, the South America was moving towards the North America, then Africa was moving towards Europe, and Australia is there, the Antarctica is there. But the Indian continent was moving very fast towards the northeast, and it was colliding with the Eurasian plate, that is, with the Chinese plate. If you compare the movement of these different tectonic plates, the South America, Africa, India, Australia, and all, the movement of India towards the Chinese plate was much, much faster compared to the remaining tectonic plates. Because in the course of movement of the Indian plate, the lithospheric roots below India has been fallen off. And India is hardly 100 kilometers thick, whereas Africa is about 300, South America is about 300, Australia is about 200. So this thinness of the plate made India move much faster, and it has collided with the Chinese plate on the north, and it has obliterated the Tethys Sea, and it has resulted in the movement of the Great Himalayas that they extending from west to east. But at the same time, in the eastern part, we have a Burma arc, that is the Burmese plate, again a fragment of the Eurasian plate, and India is also colliding with that. So the movement of Indian plate with the Chinese plate resulted in the Himalayas. However, the movement of the Indian plate towards the east, colliding with the Burmese plate, has resulted in the formation of Indo-Burman ranges. While Himalaya is extending from west to east, the Indo-Burman range is deflecting towards the south, that is from north to the northwest direction. Oh, and at this region, Manipur, Nagaland, Mizoram, and Chin Hill lies. So this is very important from the point of the origin of the freshwater lakes, rivers, and mountains. And this we have to understand. Now see, the Indian plate is here colliding with the Burmese plate. And Indian plate is going below the Burmese plate. And at this collision area, the Indo-Burman range has arisen. That is, in Manipur, we have in the eastern Shiroi Hills, and in the western, we have got the Kobru Hills, and in between, we have the Imphal Central Plain. And in the east, we have the Chinbin River Basin, and again, further east, we have the Irrawaddy River Basin. So this is related. So please see on the right side, there is the Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram. These are the three states, and at this point, the Indian plate is subducting beneath the Burmese plate, and this has resulted in a very complex method of geological formation, resulting in the formation of different water bodies. Now we see here, as a result of this, the left one is the geological map, the middle one is the river basin map, and the right one is the valley wetlands. In the west, you see in the left one, Manipur, although I said it is, even though it is a political unit, but if you see towards the further right, at the easternmost part of the Ukhrul, we have the metamorphic rocks. Then next, we have the ophiolite rocks. Then in the Ukhrul and the Sandal district, we have the Disang rocks. In order of, its age. And in the west, in the Tamenglong district, we have the Barail. Then further west, we have the Tipam. Then further west in Jiribam and the Kasar plains, we have the Surma. So these are the different types of rocks, and it is a result of the collision. And this collision between Burma and the Indian plate in the formation of Indo-Burman range In the northern part, in the Patkoi and Nagaland, Naga Hills region, there is a compression, whereas in the further south, in the Manipur and Mizoram region, there is subduction. And this subduction has resulted in the formation of the Imphal Central Plain. Although we say that it's Imphal Valley, but it is entirely different from the valleys we find in Assam, Bengal, and Bangladesh, because this valley is at the height of more than 700 meters above the sea level. It is often called as the Intermont Plateau. And due to regular rainfall from the hills of the east and west, the sediments have settled into the valley, and it has resulted in the formation of the Imphal Valley, that is the alluvium. So this will reflect in the pattern of drainages and the water bodies in Manipur. Now we see here in the middle map, we see the central part, which is painted blue. This is known as the Manipur River Drainage. We have the Imphal River, which is originally it is arising somewhere from the north, and it is joined by several other rivulets and small streams. And even the Loktak Lake is being drained to Manipur River. It is going out of Manipur in the Chin Hills of Myanmar, and further it joins the Chinduin in Kaliwa. And if you look towards the west, we have the Barak, its tributaries like Irang, Laimatak, the Makru, the Ziri, and it is going out of Manipur in the west, and it is joining to the Barak, then to Surma, Meghna, and finally to the Meghna Basin in Bangladesh. So, and if you look towards the east, the northern part of Ukhrul is drained by Leni and some other streams. They are flowing north, and they are joining to the Tiju River, which has its origin from Nagaland. The Tiju flows out of Manipur and finally joins the Chinduin directly. Then on the little southern part of Kamjong district, Ukhrul district, we have the Chatrikong and other rivers again directly joining to the Chinduin River. So this part we can call it as a Tiju River Drainage or Leni Drainage. However, the southern part of Ukhrul, the whole of the eastern eastern part is drained by small rivulets, and they will ultimately join into the U River in the eastern part of Manipur. The U River again will join to the Chinduin River. So practically Manipur River Drainage, Lani Drainage, and U River Drainage are all parts of Chinduin River Basin. However, Manipur River Drainage is having its own unique feature. The Leni Drainage is having its own unique feature, and the U River Drainage in the southern part of Ukhrul and Chandel district are having unique features because they are different in altitudes, they are different in river beds, and accordingly the fish which thrive on them, they have the unique features. So this is what I wanted to show. Even though Manipur, we see it as a political unit, but practically geologically and from the river basin evolution and its basin formation is quite different. And this will reflect in the aquatic fauna and aquatic flora and diversity likewise. So because, why I want to emphasize here is that a bird can fly, the mosquitoes can fly, butterfly can fly, but for a fish, it's not the political boundary, but it is the river basin or water body is the boundary. So even though Manipur, as we see here, is only one political unit, but it is having different river drainages. The Bara River Drainage, which will join to the Surma and Meghna in Bangladesh, will have a unique fish biodiversity pattern. The Manipur River Drainage, which consists of some rivers and the wetlands, even including Loktak Lake, will have a different fish fauna complex. And the Leni drainage and the URiver drainage in the eastern part of Manipur will have a different drainage, different fish composition. Now, this is a central plain having different lakes and wetlands. And, I don't have to say that wetland is slowly diminishing in its size. And the wetland is a very unique ecosystem. It is a hydric soil, and it plays a great important role in the climate change and carbon sink and supporting various biodiversity, including plants and animals and fish. So these are a few things which are of great concern now. We should understand before we start the diversity of any plant or animal, we should be able to understand the ecology on which they will adapt, and the story of each evolution of the ecosystem, and which will by understanding this, by understanding the deterioration and depletion of these ecosystems, we can think of planning for the future, for the sustainability and conservation and awareness to the people and to the scientists as well. So these are the things. Now, freshwater, as I have explained briefly about the resources of Manipur, in 2005-06, Dajian et al., who were the activists of the conservation of freshwater biodiversity, in contrast to the conservation of water for life of human and livestock, the team has come out with the major threats to freshwater. That is, one is overexploitation. As we know, there is overexploitation, population increase, and the production of fish or anything resource is limited. And there is water pollution, and the water pollution is always associated with the development activities. Number three, very important, flow modification. The fluvial mode of life of fish, of plants, if once the flow has been blocked by dams, construction of dams, then the natural water cycle, that is when the rainfall comes, the water will be there, it will be waterlogged. And after that, when winter comes, the water will be receding and they will come back, the water will flow back to the rivers. And along with this, the fishes and plants, the migratory groups of animals and plants, they were having its own life cycle. That cycle has been blocked. And due to construction of dams, we have experienced that fishes which were coming from Chindun River to Manipur River, then during monsoon season, the fishes will breed in the lakes. Then when the lakes are flooded, wetlands are flooded, the fingerlings and fries, they will go and feed to the rich, rich fish food organisms. Then when the water recedes, we will come back to the lake and to the rivers. That type of cycle is slowly lost. One. Number two, if a river which was flowing from Loktak to Manipur River, due to the construction of the dam, the river has been made to flow backwards, bringing water from Manipur, Imphal River to the lake to maintain a water level for hydroelectric project. So please imagine a river which was flowing east to west, west to east, has been reversed, and what hardships the fishes, the animals, migratory groups might be having by this type of modification of the flows. So this is a great concern to address the concern to the freshwater. Then number four is the destruction of degradation of habitat or degradation of habitat. Developmental activities compared to the natural activities, but man-made activities are much more. And due to that, there is a lot of degradation and destruction of habitats, urbanization and all. Then number fifth one is the invasion by exotic species. Here, I want to emphasize that the native species of plants and animals, they have been adapted to their own environment in Manipur or in the Northeast or elsewhere. And they have their own cycle, they have their own habitat. But once a very hardy type of animal or plant has been introduced, there will be always fight for food and space and predation with the native species. The native species will have to diminish, will have to slowly become extinct. So these are the threats to freshwater that the genital has put up. Now, another additional threat is the climate change. It's very important. A human being, when he becomes, he feels the warmth, then he can use fan or AC. And when he feels cold, he can wear sweaters and all. However, the fishes and many other cold-blooded animals, the temperature of the blood changes according to the environment. And please imagine a fish, when the temperature of water is increased by 1 degree centigrade or 2 degrees centigrade, their blood temperature will increase. The increase in the temperature of the blood, body temperature, will increase the metabolic activities, will increase the need for oxygen, will increase the need for oxygen from water. However, the oxygen is limited, the food is limited. So please think the cold-blooded animals like fish would be facing when there is climate change. And more metamorphism, more metabolic activities means more oxygen is required. But as the temperature rises in water, there is negative oxygen budget. And the more the temperature of water goes up, the less will the oxygen content. So these are the hardships, and these things are coming up. So these are the threats. Now, coming to fish diversity in Manipur, this is a chart showing the freshwater fishes of the whole Northeast India. And in Northeast India, we have almost about 500 species of fishes belonging to 144 genera and 35 families. And in Manipur also, similarly, we have 35 families and more than 100 genera, but the species number, of course, in Manipur. So in Manipur, the fish species are almost 300. And Manipur also shares the same number of families and almost the same number of genera, only that there is variation in species. So we have almost, we have 35 families in Manipur and about more than 100 genera of fishes. Now let's see the families one by one. The first one is family Anguillidae. We call them as eels. They're actually diadromous and they are catadromous. Catadromous means the fishes will go to the sea for breeding, and the adult life they will spend in fresh water. So Anguilla, we call it as Narillina. It is found both in the Barak as well as the Sindhin Basin. The second family is known as the Notopteridae, and it is characteristics in having a very flat body, a very small dorsal fin, and elongated anal and caudal fin confluent. And actually, this was not there in Manipur. It came sometime late in 1960s, probably with seeds of Indian major carps and Chinese carps. Then another one is clupits. The clupits, this is not found in the Sindhin Basin, but in the Barak Basin, this is Gudusia. And clupits are characteristics in having, see, the serrations on the body, it is killed body. And this is Elisa tenualosa. And this is also found in the southern part of Barak in the Phaijol district of Manipur. These are very good food fishes. Then the cyprinids are the fishes having scales, medium to large size scales. And it is quite, compared to other families, the number of species under this family is quite numerous, the maximum I should say. And this is having scales on the body. And these cyprinids are characteristics in having autophysic connection, you see. Autophysic connection is a very advanced feature by which the internal ear, which can also sense the balance as well as the hearing, is connected to the swim bladder. You know, when we open the belly of the fish, we have a bladder-like structure, which is a buoyant, and this is good for hydrostatic function. When the fish want to float or want to sink down, it is adjusted by the. And at the same time, this is a very good sound perception organ, and this sound perception is directly transmitted to the internal ear by autophysic connection. It is a modification of the first, second, third, and fourth vertebra. So compared to the earlier families, Cyprininae is very, very advanced in having the sound perception. This is, I have to say. Then this is Beryllius characteristics in having bright colored fins and bars on the body, very good ornamental as well as food value. Then Petia is another small fish, very good for aquarium fish. Schizothorax, again, a hill stream fish, and it is colotto fish, very good. And Tor is also another fish, which is highly prized for fish, and it grows to big size. Then Gara is another group of fish, genus, which is very interesting. It has got a suctorial disc, you know. The chin is having, this is callus pad, then the reflected anterolateral surface. And you see, when this fish will inhabit the hill streams in a very highly torrential this thing, so the fish will be easily washed away by the strong water current. So with the help of this mental disc, the lower lip, then reflected anterolateral surface will attach to the substratum, and this callus pad will be lifted, and a suction, a vacuum is created, and this fish will be adhering to the rocks. Even if you try to pull with your hands, the fish will not come out. So these are the ultrastructures of the mental disc of Gara. This is a small fish, however, it is highly thirsty, and the interesting phenomenon is the sucking disc. You see, if you look closer into, you see here, this is the lower lip, and this is the anteroposteral surface callus pad. If you enlarge this part, you see, each and every minute details of this will be enlarged, enlarged, and enlarged. And this is known as anculi. Anculi is in fact a single cell structure which is highly modified for adhesion. So when we look by naked eye, it looks very simple, but when you enlarge, and this type of phenomena, this type of structures are found. So these are a few things. And different types of lobes. The Gara would have smooth snout with a transverse lobe and with a proboscis. See, these are all smooth snout and with the transverse lobe and with the proboscis. See, from the simplest to very highly complex things are found in the proboscis. You see, why it is useful? When the water current, the fierce, if you go to the hill streams, in the upper hill streams, in headwaters, the water current is so fast and so strong that even you put your leg on the bottom of you cannot lift it up, so strong. But in these conditions, the fishes are thriving. How? Because this snout having this type of tubercles, they will deflect the force of water current, and the body of the fish will be saved from being washed away. So this is a very unique, which has been given by nature to this group of fishes. Now again, this is another family, Hyaluroids, very beautiful small aquarium fish. And this type of Hyaluroids are found only in Northeast and some part of Southeast Asia. And you see, the whole body is this shaped. The bottom is flat, and the mouth is crescent, so that the water can be easily escaped by this. And the mouth is also having this type of some sort of suctorial disc. Bothidae This is a highly prized aquarium fish, and this hen process is confined only in Sindhu and the Irrawaddy Basin in Burma and Manipur. Highly prized aquarium fish, as well as what we call in Manipur is sareng kwebi, and now the population is dwindling. Formerly, it was found plentifully in the lakes of wetlands of Manipur, and this is another Botha Histonica found only in Sindhu Basin, highly prized aquarium fish. Then we have the cobitids, this type of fishes having aquarium as well as, then this is Lepidoscephalictis, another aquarium as well as a very good food fish. Lepidoscephalictis is widely distributed in South and Southeast Asia. Then the balitorids, again, you see here, the interesting feature in these balitorids is that the pectoral and the pelvic fins are highly expanded, they become horizontal, and the eyes are all superior, because in the hill streams, the fishes will be adhering to the rocks at the bottom. They don't need to see the sides. They have to see only the upper surface. The water is very clear, so the eyes need not be very large. The small eye is sufficient. And the mouth is crescent so that water can easily escape. So these are some of the very interesting features of torrential hill stream fishes, which is abundantly found in Manipur. The Nimakkailids, again, very beautiful. In Manipuri, we call it as a ngatuk, because the bending patterns are just like matuk means in the sections. So this is Aborictis, of course, not found in Manipur. The Paracanthocopitis, widely found. Mustura, widely found. Sistra, widely found. And these are being exported in other countries for ornamental fish, as an ornamental fish. You see, when you look closer into the, you see, here we don't see that small barbels are there. Barbels means the whiskers. But if you look closer into the barbels, they are having several anculi, as I said. These are single cell conified cells which are used for adhesion. They will make the surface rough, and at the base of this anculi, there are certain mucous glands which will secrete the secretions and the oils and the fluids that will help in the adhesion of the fish to the substrate. Now this is the Hyaluroids. The Hyaluroidae is a group of fish, the family, which is characteristic in having no scales on the body. This is Ompok, highly prized. Then Pterocryptis, it is found in Barak. This is the one which was described by us from Barak and its tributaries in the Tamelong district. Another very interesting fish is Chakkide. This is Chakka. Manipuris call it as Samu Kongpak. And it was, I have photographed this fish long back in 1980s from Jiribam and from Barak. And the fish is not that big, but by look, it is very stumpy. And in Assam, it has got medicinal value, but the Assamese say that it is the most ugliest fish in the world in Assam. But even if it is ugly, the fish is being exported illegally to different countries in the West, and this is highly prized ornamental fish, aquarium fish. So to me, everybody says that ornamental fish means it doesn't have to be beautiful or ugly, but it has to have a different look and it should have a different behavior. Any new fish is having value to the aquarists. So Chakka is very important ornamental fish. Ritidae, another catfish, and there are two types of catfishes. One is Rita sacerdotum in the eastern Chindian basin, and Rita in the western Gangetic and the Barak basin. Another very good food fish. And these are eyelids, and eyelids are also characteristics in having a very flattened body, and it is also highly prized fishes. Bagridae, another group of fish, and it occupies a its own population quite compared to other families. The, the, the number of species are numerous. This is Hemibagrus microphthalmus, and this fish will grow up to about 50 kgs. And once it was, I have seen a photograph from Sugnu that it was, one fish was, more than the length of a rickshaw. So this is highly prized, and this is widely distributed in Myanmar also. And it will come up to the Sindhun River, up to Wangu, and even up to some part of near the Loktak Lake. But now the population is declining. This is Potasio. This is Sperata, another very good food fish. Mistus, and several new mistus are found in both Barak as well as in the Chindian Basin. The Oleira, again a small catfish. Acaicidae, another small group of fishes, and which is characteristic in having tubercle spiral on the body. Small fish, but having very high ornamental value. Emblycipitidae, another small fish, catfish, and in Manipur there are more than 4 species of emblyceps. Then Sisorids, again very interesting groups of fishes. This is Glyptothorax, and Glyptothorax is a fish characteristics in having again adhesive apparatus in the thoracic region, and this helps in the adhesion to the substratum. This is Pseudocenis, another fish found both in Ukrul as well as in the Barak River, and this is again having this type of transverse plates on the thorax, which is used in the adhesion and to be helping in not to be washed away. Bulgarius, it is a giant fish. It also goes up to more than 40 kgs, and it is again a very good food fish. It's widely found in Sindhuin as well as Barak and Brahmaputra rivers. So here, this is a micro ultra structure of the Glyptothorax, and you see the in Pseudocenis, the barbels, it looks smooth, but when in the ultra microscope, scanning electron microscope, it is having this type of structure so that it will help in clinging to the rocks, not to be washed away by the strong water current. So these are all, and again, this is very important. This is Oreoglanis, Creteucailoglanis. Very interesting, the whole pectoral fin, the pelvic fin is highly expanded. And this is also, again, a very interesting phenomenon in hillstream fish. Then we have the Ngangra, Erythistis, Conta, Exostoma, all Sisorids. In Clarias, this is endangered. The Mugils we have, then Bellonidae, it is a pipe fish. Then Eplocylus, then Monoteres we have, this is a mud eel. Then Chaudhuridae, Mastasemblydae, the spiny eels. Then we have the Anabantidae, Osporonemidae. Then Channidae, Nandidae, Badidae. You see Channidae. Channa is, we call it Ngamu, is a snake head. And this Meghalaya region and this northeastern part is declared as a hotspot of sanids, because in this region more than 20 species of channas are available, and compared to other parts of the world, this is regarded as a hotspot. So channas diversity is very rich here. Badit, again, this is a very interesting, beautiful ornamental fish, highly prized in the Western market. Then we have Singnathidae, this is a pipe fish, and this is the Tetrodontidae, the puffer fish. The esophagus will distend and threaten the enemies when they are attacked. So these are 35 families. Now, why so much of diversity? As I have already said, this is the Sangpo River coming from Tibet, and finally it is going to the Red River somewhere in the Thailand and Laos. Then Brahmaputra was different, then Chindian was different, but later on, due to the collision, you see, Sangpo and Brahmaputra connection is established. Then Irrawaddy and Salween connection, I say, the Mekong connection, and this Yangtze River, which was flowing towards the west, now it will flow to the east and go to the Chinese Sea. So this is all the river basin evolution, the connection, reconnection of the rivers. This has something, a lot of to do with the fish fauna evolution in this region. This we need to understand. So this type of, when the Himalayan orogeny is there, the first wave, second wave, third wave, the highest wave is somewhere found in Northeast India, including Manipur. And here the highly specialized groups of fishes are found. This is about IUCN. Now, fortunately, I was involved in the IUCN freshwater fish evaluation and assessment of the Eastern Himalaya. And we have assessed more than 500 species at Kathmandu, Kolkata, and Coimbatore, with a team of scientists from throughout the world, including people from Natural History Museum. And after that assessment, we have found that this Manipur and Chin Hills, the dark red region, is the most threatened part of fishes, of freshwater fishes, threatened part in geography in this map. So this we must be aware. Although northeastern part and some parts of Nepal are having threats, but this Manipur, eastern part as well as the Chin Hills, is the most threatened part for freshwater diversity. And as many as 15 species of fishes have been declared as, it was in 2010, and out of that, the red mark, Badis tuivai, Clarias magur, Siluricus stereocryptis, these fishes, about 7 fishes which are also distributed in Manipur, are found to be endangered. And out of about 40 vulnerable species, about 1/3 of the species are also found in Manipur. So it is a great concern. These are a few fishes. Now, I want to say that this assessment was done in 2009 and 10. And by that time, we found 15 endangered species and 40 vulnerable. Now, after that, hundreds of new species of fishes have been described from Northeast India, and they have not been assessed. And out of the 500 species of fishes which have been assessed, 37% of the fishes are not assessed so far. And because of the lack of data deficient, and they have not been assessed. But if they are assessed, many of them may be found endangered. Many of them may be found vulnerable. And by now, in the last 10 years, several species have been described. What is the fate of those fishes? They have not been assessed. At the same time, you know, the scarcity, the threats to freshwater life is increasing day by day. And this is a great concern to, particularly to the freshwater biodiversity activists. And we should be aware of all these things, and we should have a long vision of what may happen in the next 20 years, 30 years, and accordingly we have to plan the conservation and utilization of the freshwater resources for sustainability. With this, I would like to thank you for listening to my lecture.
Thank you for your valuable lectures about the conservation of biodiversity, sustainable development, fish diversity and management. So is there any queries from the participants? Any question to ask? If there is no response, then I will move on. Now I request Professor Asagupta, President and conveners of today's function, to give her presidential speech.
Honorable Professor W. Vishwanath, our resource person for today's webinar. I'm noticing many stalwarts are present here. Professor Naveen Ambash is there from Kanpur. Dr. Aliva is there from Sambalpur University. Dr. Ratna from Manipur University, Sunita is there from Planning Department, and other Professor Vidyanath Jha is there from Mithila University. I'm really grateful to you. Vidyanath Jha has also great interest in aquaculture and others. Of course, he's working on Makhana, Uriel Ferox. So thank you, sir, for joining here with us. We have heard a very illuminating lecture from Professor Vishwanath. He's a thorough academician, and we have seen that with how great interest and depth he describes the diversity, why there is great fish diversity in Manipur, in Northeast, and we are in the hottest spot. Sir has told about that fresh water is a vulnerable commodity and less than 0.08% is there in the world. We know that the freshwater resource here and the which is diversity here, it is very much unique in Manipur. He talked of international decade of water for life, and with two aims that we have to get safe drinking water, and also the water should be there sufficient for our sanitation. And behind there is the goal that there should be the conservation of biodiversity, which this water supports. He has described very vividly that, of course, we know the Manipur's political boundary. It is one of the most important state, and then northeastern state, and then a political boundary, of course, we know. But he has described very beautifully the geomorphic evolution in Manipur, that how the Indian plate, it is touching beneath the Chinese plate, Burmese plate, and then it has resulted in evolution of so many different rock types. Then due to collision of Indian and Burmese plate, he has talked about formation of Manipur Valley. He has described that how Manipur drainage is developed. He has talked that how the Manipur River Basin, the Manipur River Drainage, then this Barak River Drainage, and then Linear River Drainage, all they have unique diversity. He talked about that how our human activities like destruction of habitat, pollution, then climate change, then dam construction, etc., how they are destroying the diversity, and it is a matter of great concern. He has talked that in Northeast, about 500 species of fishes are there, and then which are belonging to 35 families. Same 35 families are there in Manipur, and more than 100 genera and 300 species are there in Manipur. Where in Northeast, 500 species are there. He has talked very beautifully about the details of fish diversity in Manipur with taxonomic details. How there is, we know that we in Manipur we have torrential hill streams, we have got lakes, we have got wetlands, we have got low-lying paddy fields, and so on. So especially in the hill streams, for example, how the adaptation is taking place, what type of, for example, what is the nature of eye, what is the other structures which are there, and how they adapt, how they cling to the rock, how they are not washed away, whereas we cannot keep our feet in that water. So very beautifully he has described all those things. He has told that ornamental, so many ornamental fishes are there also in Manipur, which are exported also to the other countries. And he said that it is not only the beauty which is there for the quality of making aquarium, it may be something new fish also which is there, which he has shown very beautifully with the help of his these photographs and accounts which is there. So we can see that how much labor, time, and devotion he has for his work. This very nicely it is depicted in his lecture, not only in the field but further than identifying the species, working long hours in the lab. And then he has produced a great rather a group of students whom he has trained. He's training not only his group of students from Manipur, but I know when I was there, now I'm also retired, when I was there in university, many persons from abroad also they're coming to his lab, and he's giving them training in identification. He is involved with IUCN, he has already told you. And then they have assessed the fishes, and then he said that after 2010, many more hundreds of species they have been invented, they have found out. But the what is the assessment, what is data is deficient about those fishes, that whether they are vulnerable, whether they are what is the state of affairs for them, whether they're endangered, endemic, vulnerable. So this is all to be known. So this all requires a very good devotion, a very good focus, and I think he has he has a great number of students. He has trained them. They will make their contribution to this. And then because he has made Manipur University proud, our department proud by his work, and everybody knows it. Everybody knows about his contribution. So with these words, I feel that I mean he has done a great justice to his topic, which he has selected: freshwater and fish diversity of Manipur. We know that in Manipur, people are fish eaters. There is a great difference, I mean, gap in demand and supply. We have got a great, I mean, huge potential for aquaculture. Many species are there which are very important. We know fish is a good source of animal protein and many other minerals, many vitamins, etc., minor nutrients which are there. So, I mean, it is also providing livelihood to a number of people. So, the state should find out the policy, should make a policy that for sustainable development of these huge resources which we have got. The potential of these resources, they should be developed, and then it should help in providing alternative livelihood to the population which depends on these resources, because we know in the Loktak and others, the huge resources are there which are tapped by the people which are living, the population which is living nearby. So I think that and fish, as we know, that it is very good for vision. It helps in brain development. It helps in bone maintenance. It prevents also some type of cancer and so on and so forth. So fish is, I mean, a great of interest to the other persons also who derive from work of our sir, that they can also work in future. I think some of his work, some of his students are working in this direction also. So the basic taxonomy, the basic research, how it is important, so that it paves the way for other branches, other applied branches also to come up and provide it may help in providing nutritional and food security to the people, and not only to people of Manipur but also to the northeast region and also to the other neighboring countries. So with this word, I again, I'm really thankful to Professor WB Charnat for sparing his very valuable time. He's writing the books. He's very busy, very busy person. But just at one my phone call, he has accepted and he is providing this very beautiful lecture. I'm really very much thankful to you, sir. And I'm thankful to all the participants who are present over here, and because of their participation. And I will be very happy if some of the zoology persons are also listening, and they should take clue from sir, that how he is laborious, how devotion he works, how much focus is there. So please develop these qualities in you. He is one of the example before us. So with these words now, I request, I again ask Dr. Biteshwari to continue the proceeding.
Thank you, Professor Sagupta. Now I request Assistant Professor Andy Niru of Warang College to propose vote of thanks.
A very good evening to one and all. First of all, I would like to thank today's resource person, Professor W. Vishwanath Singh, who is also a very renowned fish scientist in Manipur as well as in Northeast India, and not only in Northeast India, national level as well as the international level. I thank you so much, sir, for sparing your valuable time. In spite of your busy schedule, you could make your things very beautiful in a very beautiful and then clear pictures of how you have studied the fish in details, and then how you have prepared, seen your slides. You have done all the works in fish, and then starting from the origin, the navigation part, the migratory route, as well as the river basins, river tributaries, then river connectivities. Everything you have done. That shows that you have all the basic and then all the important knowledges you have. Thank you so much, sir. And you have also emphasized the beautiful things, and then you have collected so much pictures, so much fish pictures, as well as uh, the numbers of fishes that you have produced in your slide. It is so beautiful. I really enjoyed your lecture, and I really thank you. And secondly, I would like to thank Professor Asha Gupta, who is also the founder and the president of Manipur Shakti, for organizing this type of interesting webinar, and for always taking active part in organizing on interesting topics. And then thank you so much, ma'am. I also would like to thank all the participants, faculty, professors, learned faculties from different parts of India who are participating right now in this webinar, and all the learned teachers, professors from MU also, and all the participants, students, research scholars. Thank you so much for joining this program, and see you soon. And with the permission of the chair, I declared the meeting as closed. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Niru. Thank you, sir. Thank you, all the participants, for being here. Thank you so much.